Hello. So, yeah. I need to do something creative-ish, to some extent. So that's what this is. I'm not sitting here saying, oh yes, I'm totally going to make and finish a game. It is unlikely. It is unlikely. But I want to try. If you're wondering about the background music, I just found a hour plus, compilation of popular common Kevin MacLeod songs. So if you're hearing this and going, I've heard this on 1,000 YouTube videos before, that's why. This guy basically wrote all the music that everybody uses because it is free and open use, so it's been nabbed. Hello. So yeah, as you might observe, this window right here is not RPG Maker, it is Clip Studio Paint, and I've got a tile set open. Hold on, let me actually resize it in here, because as it turns out, when I made the capture thing, Clip Studio, there we go, it kind of went and tried to fill the entire thing. Well, it's not going to be perfect. I can at least try and get it mostly in there. It's going to be a little off because the window size is different than my frame size. But yeah, we can get the majority. Anyhow, I am dabbling around. I've been wanting and trying and poking at RPG Maker before, and I'm full of ideas. The ideas part is so easy. The hard part is, I don't want to just make it with the default assets. And because I don't want to make anything with the default assets, that requires me to either find and buy other assets, and I'm not sure I want to go in on that necessarily, or make my own. And I am not a pixel artist. So, I also lack patience. I am basically fighting a losing battle. So this is basically accountability stream of sorts, where I am like, okay, the only way I'm gonna get this done is if I am sitting here with other people and kind of going, hey, keep an eye on me doing this so I don't get distracted, end up going and doing something else. Because what can I say? The computer is a wonderful box. It's full of great inventions like the internet and all of the distractions therein. Hello. So that is my current state of things, state of affairs. I am doing my heckin' best. I don't know what that is, but it's probably something. You know, that's all I can say, is I'm doing something. Maybe, hopefully. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit more of a low-key kind of stream, probably. I'm just gonna sit here, try to do some stuff, try to, talk through it. Maybe if I get a few tiles done, I'll open up RPG Maker and just compile them together on a simple map and just see how god-awful they look, after all. Where is my grid? I need that back on, because I am just going to... Right now I'm working in on a principle of, just use the most basic shapes possible. Just make squares. Don't sit here and try to, make anything, super duper fancy artistic or anything like that. Like I said, I definitely want to, recolor this. I don't like how... Nope! Wrong key! Wrong hotkey! I don't like how washed out it is. It needs to be something. Yeah, that's a little brighter. So, right now my goal is very simple. Grass, dirt, maybe stone. The three basics that you see here. And then maybe if we make a little progress and have some time. I do have all of these other tile sets pulled up. I don't think I really want to mess with the animated ones, to be quite honest. These are all the base default tile sets that come with the program. And so, if you've ever seen somebody do a basic attempt at the program or anything like that, you've probably seen these used in something or other. These are the fun bits. These are the decorative elements. Yeah, but right now, unfortunately, I'm not doing the fun bits. I'm doing grass. So... Right now I've got, I'm attempting something where I try to do a checker sort of thing, where I'm trying not to worry too much about making the perfect, like, grass texture repeat thing. I'm just relying on dither, some weird little colors, and squares. Squares. That's my only hope. So, as of right now, that's where I'm sitting. That's what I'm up to. Oh boy. Let's see. What's other basic news, I guess, of sorts? Well, I guess there is a thing where I am probably not going to stream tomorrow. Not tomorrow. My God, words. Next week. Next time I would stream is going to be a no stream time. And that is specifically because, as it turns out, there is a convention locally for, like, tabletop games, board games, things like that. And on the Sunday slot for the convention, they've got, like, 2 different things. They've got a panel and a workshop for, like, tabletop or roleplay, like, game development stuff. And that is also a somewhat pet interest of mine that may never go anywhere, but I would like it to. And it's a thing where it's like, I'd like to go to the panel, I'd like to hear what people have to say, and also, on the, am I doing this correctly? I feel like this is off. Well, whatever. We're carrying on, because I don't know if I've got this right. Anyhow, the whole game dev thing, like, tabletop-wise, is an interest of mine. I have, again, so many ideas. So full of ideas, so little time. And the panel is, therefore, potentially useful, potentially interesting. The workshop thing is where it really gets potentially neat. How the hell have I done this? What am I doing? Because the workshop is something where you can bring in anything you're working on, and it can be in any stage of development or not. It can be a note of an idea that you have and want to do. It could be an actual, like, game that's up to playtesting. Could be anything. And basically from there, you can get people to give you some feedback on it. You can have a playtest done. You can have a, have people, like, hear the idea and offer feedback. And, you know, it's gonna be a little bit random feedback from people and all that. And maybe it's gonna be useful, maybe not. I really want to go. I really want to go, so that's going to be me all day next week, and you know, maybe the week after I'll be back and I'll talk about it if there's anything really interesting. I'll take notes. You know, not to turn this into, like, game dev all over the place, but it has kind of been an interest of mine. I have been running D&D games for quite some time. I've been branching out into other systems, other games that have been really fun, either running them or playing them. And kind of the more I do stuff like that, the more I want to keep doing it. Like, I really enjoy putting stories or worlds together. The world building is honestly my favorite part. I am a little bit more shaky on mechanical structure, I think. And so that's where, like, any of my weak spots are going to be. And it's the same thing with, like, this sort of thing, RPG Maker sort of thing. I can have so many ideas. I can know how I want the story to go. I know how the characters are going to go. I know broadly how certain mechanics that are very simple and broad are going to fit into them. My problem is when it becomes a little bit more complex, for one thing. And also, I can't code a goddamn thing. I've tried. I've tried to learn. it's not gone well. You know, I got hold of, like, Godot a while back to try something a little more complex, because they also had, like, a whole bunch of tutorials and things online. They had, like, I think there was an entire thing that was trying to gamify that learning experience. And so, in theory, that should have been, like, something achievable or within reach or something like that. In actuality, I really am not a coding sort of person. It very quickly, once we got past the absolute basics, became incomprehensible to me. And mostly it has to do with just the language terminology. I could, in theory, probably learn it with a lot of time and dedication and an actual teacher or something like that. Maybe. But unfortunately, as soon as it came time to, like, do certain things, I very quickly was like, wait, what do you mean this is the term used? Why isn't this the term used? What, this term is apparently meaningless in the system, as it were. But why is that? Why is it, you know, not doing the thing I think it should when I am using very clear language to my mind? And it turns out it's just, the program is not built for that language. The program is not built to understand the words I am using or wanting to use. Or I just don't know how the abbreviations work, or whatever. Yeah, long and short of it is probably I better stick with something like RPG Maker, which handles most of the coding for me. And or I need to, like, work with people who do the parts that I can't do. So, yeah. As far as it stands right now, I am all on my lonesome, so that's just how it is. That's just how it's gonna be. Okay, I think that I need to dither in a bit more variation on the shades. Let's go a little lighter and a little more orange, maybe. Goofy, weird, I don't know. Control Z. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So I think that my only hope of making this look interesting is really to pull in some weird colors and kind of use them to break up some of the monotony. So I'm laying down this basic foundation of a very simple grid pattern. And then I'm going to go back in, color select the things, and start to scatter them more. I already did that with the grass gradient. I just really hope that it doesn't look completely stupid once we get it in there. This little double bit in the middle of each one is throwing me a little. So I don't know about that. Unfortunately, that might just be the cost of doing things this way. Oh well. Alright, that is very pink. It's very pink. I think I need to tone that down a little. Well, it's gone kind of purple. Oh, whatever. We're just gonna embrace this for now, and we're gonna hope for the best. Because, quite frankly, it's sort of all I got. Okay. So yeah, that's the long and short of what I'm kind of up to and where my brain is. Other than that, some of my options for, like, games to play in the near future is there was another story update for Traveler's Rest, and I would like to do that on a stream. I still have, oh, what is the name of it? Like, was it Mythwood or something like that? It's one that I did as, like, a demo a while back, and I have the full game now. So in theory, I can just go ahead and do that on a stream. Ooh, that gets a little too light. Undo that. Okay, I want to go a little more yellow, but I think that I want to make it actually darker when I do this. Not quite there. That blends in too much. Yeah, there. There we go. so I've got that game that I can play. I have some new ones that I have been gifted, such that in theory there is something like, say, Hades 2. I am not going to be a skilled player, but I have it. So I could maybe like bumble through the first area on stream and then just, you know, go to playing it on my own and stream something else after that. Because I don't think I want to, like, drag out a stream of doing the entire game. That will take entirely too long, even if there is that, like, God mode, easy mode thing from the first game. I really hope there is. That was the only way I got through that. So there's that as an option, as an offering. Go a little more green, a little more yellow. There we go. Let's see. There was something else that I have that I was considering as a potential, like, stream use. Unfortunately, I don't have my great game library open right now, so I am in a spot where, like, head empty aside from colors and placing them. You know, it's hard to talk and paint at the same time. I don't even know where I am. Okay. Well, that is not ideal. Honestly, not ideal. I don't know about that one. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. Maybe some inwards? Maybe? I don't know. I feel like there's something that I can do with this to make it a little bit more visually interesting. The heck have I done? Seriously, what happened here? Why is it not... Ah. That's what I did. I did a silly. Okay, so that makes little circles. So I think that I need to add some more, honestly. Maybe the grass needs to dither in just a little bit more, I think. Why not? Why not? I'm already doing this, like, stupid style instead of anything with actual, realistic textures. So I'll commit to the bit for now. If I ever do another one of these streams, just know there's a very real chance that I will open this up and you will see extremely different textures. And it will either be, hey, I went back and spent hours reworking every single one of these because I hated this. Or it'll be, yeah, I just caved in and I, like, either found a free to use one or bought one for not too much. Because I am losing my mind. Alright. Well, okay. Okay, it's not exactly pretty, but it is something that I can maybe work in as a base. So now it's time to just do some of these at random dots instead of being all perfectly uniform. So, oops, I don't want it there. I don't want to, like, double up. But I do definitely want to scatter them about. No, not that one. Anyhow. Let's just do a little corner. Let's do that. Let's do that, that. Alright, okay. Okay. It's something. Not necessarily, like, a great something, but something. It might look better at a distance, and that's the one thing that I can kind of hope for. Okay. Alright, so that's basically one tile, and the thing that I do is now I'm going to kind of scatter some of these colors into rows above and below where they were originally. And that way it looks just a little more blended, I think. So for example, I just took the pink and I scattered it down. I'm going to take this orange and kind of scatter it up a little bit. Not a lot, not a ton of it, just enough to be like, break up the monotony and the perfect rows of things. Same thing with this yellow. I'm just gonna scatter it up here and there. I'm gonna especially break up these like extra double block things that I've got going on. And we're just gonna see if that does anything good for us. Bring the yellow down into some of these as well and just brighten it up. Here and there. And once I'm done with the yellow, I'm gonna grab the light peachy tan and do similar stuff. Basically, I'm just trying to push and pull things up and down until I feel like I've got a fairly decent mix of things and it doesn't look too samey or monotonous. And after I've done the single tile piece, I do need to expand it out into like the corners and then the larger expanded one. So I'm definitely not going to be completely done with this. Get some darker ones up here. All right. Dum da da dum da. Okay. Especially when I put the dark right next to that yellow, it's, whoops. I don't want you in two spots, thank you very much. Greater contrast. Does a little bit more. Okay. Alright, I've dithered some stuff in and out. Now I'm going to do something that I did with these grass things, where I am actually going to push some of these, if I can just get a single pixel. I'm going to push some of these, like, upwards, outwards. The problem I have here right now is that I do have a row where I just did most of them completely, and so I need to break up a couple of these and then push up. So I'm gonna just do a few scattered ones here and there, just until I feel like I've got a bit of a flow, and then I'm gonna do a bit of this, where it's going to feel a little bit more like some of these pixels and colors are breaking up into the flat color. At least that's my goal. I could be very wrong. This could be... Oh god, I keep saying it. This could be so dumb. There could be actual pixel artists who see this and go, no, what is she doing? No, that's not how you do it. Don't do it! And you know what? They'd probably be right. Okay. I've got a thing. So basically I am super zoomed in. Let me zoom out to like 100%. It's gritty. It's very subtle. I'm not sure if I'm gonna love it until I get it in there, but there is a little bit of an interesting fade effect there, so I'm hoping that this is working. That's all I've got, is just hope that it works. Okay, so now we're going to have a bit of a fun part. And that is, we're going to actually turn this into the larger part of the grid. So let me grab my marquee tool. I'm going to put the grid I made back on so that I can see my divisions. And I'm going to grab this chunk here, copy, paste, move, deposit it right there, deselect, grab this chunk here, and actually also merge, copy, paste, move, right there, merge, deselect. This chunk right here, god, this is intense music for what's going on. Oh, hold on, I forgot I need to grab this chunk here, rather. I was one over. They're blending in too much. Copy, paste, move. And that goes all the way down here. Deselect. Finally. Oh. Copy, paste, move. Okay. Okay. Deselect. So, those are the corners. From there, I am pretty safe in grabbing my rectangle tool, matching this color right here, and just these inner squares are currently going to be plain. I'm going to have mostly that color on these squares. I am going to be expanding that dither out, and I might copy and paste some of it. We shall see, we shall see. I'm just gonna try and make this workflow as easy as I can on myself. Alright, and now after that, I've got two different greens, and I need to alternate them. So, this green goes on these squares. These squares. Basically anything that is, I think I got that wrong, I did get that wrong, these squares. So, not those. That needs to be dark. Goes on these squares. I will get there. I genuinely will get there. Darker green. Very, very slightly, subtly darker green. It's more obvious when they're next to each other, to be honest. Okay. And then I need to grab the dithers from, honestly, it probably would have been easier to just copy-paste instead of actually, like, doing the squares, because I am a little fool. I'm a little fool sometimes. However, to be fair, they are mostly the bottoms. Okay. So what I need is this one. Copy, paste, move, right there. Paste. Oh, it's up there. Right there. Okay, so those are the two side ones. Then I need to merge those down, thank you. Marquee again. Copy, paste, move. Paste, move. Alright. Now the top is plain on all the grass tiles, so I don't have to worry about that. I do have to grab the dithers from the bottom, though. Which means I need this one for the darker. Oh, I gotta merge. I'm copying empty pixels. That's not gonna get me very far. Pull that down. Deselect. I need this one for the light ones. Copy, paste. Deselect E. Okay. Okay. Now, I need these things. And I suspect... what's going to be the easiest way to go about that? Perhaps just selecting these inner things and then swapping places? I may have to go back in and alter how things are formed, but I'd rather get the bulk of the work in here. Okay, does that make an aligned grid? It does. Okay. Okay. Paste it again. Did I mess up? I think I might have. Hold on. Why are there... oh, there's 5. Okay. Hold on. How do I have so many? How do I overlapped, didn't I, when I copied them? Yeah, I've got no idea what's going on with some of this. It almost looks like it's overlapping outside the grid. And it very well might be. Yeah, I'm just doing it stupid style. I have got nothing. I've got nothing and nothing and nothing. So, let's see. It should be pixel by pixel. It really should. And then this one should again be each pixel, but why is the grid off? See, I am already having a bad time, guys. Somehow my pixels are not aligned to the grid, even though the grid should be each pixel. What the hell? It might not be evenly divided, to be fair. View grid, ruler bar settings. Oh, it somehow went to 10 divisions, and that is not going evenly into 48, so I'm going to make that 12 divisions if I can. Are you not willing to do that? You keep defaulting to 10. Maybe 10 is the maximum. Let's go 8. Yeah, I'll bet 10 is the maximum of subdivisions that you can make, and so it defaulted to that, and so that's why it looked off. Alright, that looks far neater and far nicer. I still have this weird little thing where I have got, you know, not the full thing, but it might be because I was grabbing 10 at a time. So it's fine. I'm just going to grab 1 from up here, and it's going to be okay. So we're going to be fine. Copy that. Paste it. Let's just kind of fight our way into, well, some manner of cohesion. I don't even know. Alright. Deselect. We are going to go to brush. We're going to go to heckin' transparent and just clean those. The grid lines up otherwise. No, it doesn't. I've got weird stuff going on with the, Oh, it's because it was 10s. Alright, alright, alright. So those are fine. Largely. Well, heck it, stuff might be wonky. I don't know what to say. Stuff might be very slightly wonky. Copy. Paste. You know, it's good to know about... No, that's not correct. It's good to know about the subdivision thing because, oh boy, that's something to find out early at least. Because now at the very least, I can be like, yeah, I got stuff to fix. Yeah, that doesn't work. Hold on. Delete. Let's go back and deselect. Okay, so I need 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 1, 2. And I'm going to have to redo like 1 line of pixels around the edge of this in order to make it work. But it's okay. It's gonna be very simple. I hope. Because yeah, it is just a little screwed up. As you can see, there is a gap. That's all right. It's all right. Ultimately, this is just me muddling about, trying to make something that I could use for more muddling about in something. I am not a professional, and that is okay. So yeah. This is going to be fine. Okay, I need, let's see, I need the darks to go on top of the lights. So I do need these two right here. Copy those, paste those. And align. Paste again. And align. So yeah. Muck-up aside, to be honest, it is still faster than redoing all of the pixels by hand, so, you know, we'll take what we get. Okay, so that's good. Paste, pull. Good. Okay. I think that I misplaced them. Yeah, I think I did. Hold on, hold on. There we go. Now they're sitting at the correct height. Okay. You know the thing of, like, measure twice, cut once? That's probably a good thing for, like, keeping track of your settings in any program. Because, oh boy, if I had, like, double-checked that and realized the grid was off earlier, I might not be dealing with these little gaps. But I didn't. I didn't. I measure once, cut once. Found problem. Those are empty pixels. Let me copy the actual thing. There we go. There we go. There we go. This is very weird, like, bouncy tropic music. Some of the others I have definitely recognized from various YouTube videos and shorts, things like that. Like, they are, belovedly common. I probably just don't watch the sort of videos that would use this one. I'll take the compiler's word for it that this is one of the most, popular... What did I do? Did I mess up? Hold on. I'm backing up a little. Yeah, I did. Okay, I overlapped a couple things. Alright. I'm taking the compiler's word for it that these are amongst the most common or popular, Kevin MacLeod's. But also this video was put up 10 years ago, so I don't know, the demographics or something may have shifted. Numbers may have changed. Okay. Alright, so I've got a gap to fill, and I have some repeats that I can... Honestly, I could probably leave. It's fine. So yeah, it's mostly just filling the gap now. So, back to the brush with me. Scroll myself in. Okay. So I've got the... Whoops. That brush. We've got... That color stays... God damn. What the heck? Why is it not... Okay. Oh, the grid is on. Okay, yeah, the bad thing about having the grid visible is that it tries to automatically align any brushes to the grid, but it does it in a really weird way that does not work for me, personally. And I wish it didn't. Did I heckin' mess up? I think I did. I think that I aligned the dark on top of the light and the light on top of the dark. Well, I am redoing several pixels because I am not going back and copying and pasting anything else. We are gonna stick with it. We are gonna do our best. I'm gonna do my best, but I might be recoloring all the greens. Whatever. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Every creative process is filled with mock-ups. And if you are, really zen and really chill about it, if you are essentially Bob Ross, then they are always happy accidents because you can turn them into something cool. If you are me and trying to do a precise pixel grid with matchy colors and color flow, maybe you feel a little differently. I don't know. It's not catastrophic. Excuse me. It's only a little bit annoying because it's, I thought that I was doing good. I thought that I was doing a real good, clever job, and I found out my clever was being dumb all along. Oh well. Because yes, I need to pull from this color, which is not that color. They look very similar, but they're not the same. It's okay, we'll get there. Nope, not that one. Okay, I'm just gonna scoot right along. Okay, those are correct because I pulled the entire corner piece, so those are fine. Those are fine. It's only the side pieces that have gotten messed up by me basically trying to alternate colors where I should not have tried to alternate colors. I got a little too lost in the weeds of doing this. As can happen. Where the heck am I? Okay. Okay. Go around to here. Hey, at the very least, I know broadly what things I am trying to fill in. And also, it's all kind of subtle enough that it probably won't be too big of a deal if it does end up being a little bit off. Alright, where's my, I think that's my dividing line? It's a little hard to tell, honestly. That's probably a good thing in some ways. Maybe it means that I will get a nice repeating tile pattern. And I won't have to worry too much about it beyond that. If I can only be so lucky. Okay. Yes, that's all the gaps filled in. Alright. Now, this is going to be the tricky part because this other set up here is the inner corners. And I do not remember the trick for actually getting them to look right. I should, in theory, have a slightly easier time of it because I have this, this very flat border. However, I'm afraid some of my dithers might make it, more of a challenge. So, basically, while this creates a box, if you have, like, the path hooking upwards, then you want this kind of in the corner of where it hooks. And I'm not sure I remember how you actually get that. I think you're supposed to, use, like, corners here, 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 but I don't remember where they all go. Okay, okay. Heck. How do I go about this? I know there's an easy way, it's just been too long since I've messed with this. Okay, so obviously first, the, hold on. The entire square is basically going to be the flat dirt color that I have picked out. And that is just going to be the majority of it. However, after that, I'll turn the grid back on. After that, I should basically have a corner in each green. I'm just not quite sure how to align the greens so that they alternate as they should. Ha. How does this work? I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this in my head and it is not going very well. Because I'm trying to remember the basics of how the directions go, and I might not be able to. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can pull open a resource on the side real quick. Okay. So each corner is each quadrant is basically a different directional corner of sorts. However, yeah, the example I'm seeing immediately is not that helpful. Okay, okay. How do you get the tile sets? Transition tiles. Second covers corners. Yes, please. Corners are arranged in... Smaller tile goes on the concave corner of a solid area. That does not help me. Thank you very much. Okay, this has no... I need visual examples. Not a description of a thing. I need a visual, actual thing. Please and thank you. Unfortunately, now I'm running into results that are just, hey, here's my completed tile set and stuff, and that's not how to create it. Recommendations for complete tile set packs? No, please. No, thank you. I want to actually tuck the corners in, and I need to know which color I'm using in each corner. Okay, okay. So, one way I can do this, one really dumb way I can do this, because I think that it's basically like copying the, copying a bit of each, pixel thing. Okay, okay. I'm gonna shot in the dark this. I've got a 50-50 shot, I think. I'm either going to get it very right, or I'm gonna get it very wrong. Now, pretty sure that I can do copy that, paste that. And I'm going to guess that it goes on this. That's what I'm guessing right now. I could be wrong. Deselect. Actually, I could probably copy paste all the others right away. Key. Shift. Shift. Copy them all. Paste them all. Move them all over. Alright. This is my shot in the dark. It might be scrambled. However, I am thinking that this should match up. And if it doesn't, then maybe some rotation is needed. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that it's a straight shot, though, as opposed to rotation needed, so I'm gonna hope for the best. I'm absolutely going to hope for the best. Okay. Alright. So I might have the most hecking basic, grass tiles. Grass and dirt. Okay. Alright. Oh, boy. I genuinely don't know how much stuff I actually need for this, so let's go simplistic for now. Let's go ahead and, move over to something a little different. I'm gonna leave the animated stuff alone for right now. I really don't want to mess with it. Now, to be quite honest, I don't particularly love the way that the blocky way that the housing stuff looks, but it's the easiest way to do tile sets, aside from just, like, drawing building elements like these and then piecemealing from that. Technically possible, technically feasible. I don't know. I don't absolutely love it. I think part of it is because there is no, like, grass or anything overlapping it or anything like that. It tends to look extremely divorced from the rest of everything else. So, yeah. That is kind of the way of it. Huh. Like, don't get me wrong, they're very pretty textures and pixel art and stuff like that. It just always looks so pasted on. So, gosh. What do we do about it? Turn on the grid. Turn on the grid. All right. Well, that's interesting. Are my divisions working weirdly again? Because I thought it was supposed to be, yeah, it's being stupid. It should be 48. I want 8 divisions. No, not that many. Well, okay, fine. I guess there are that many. So 48, that is that's a lot more in line with where I actually expected things to be. Okay. These are bigger than I thought. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. I use this music as combat music in my D&D games all the time. I know this one. Makes it feel like I'm trying to have my party fight a dragon. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so I think that we've got quarters here. I could be wrong. No, it's definitely lower than that. Ha. How do these things work? Because I know you can stack them higher. I just don't remember, I don't know exactly where the divisions are. Hold on, I'm going to change the ruler bar settings. I'm going to make this 4 divisions each, just to make it easier to read. Okay. Okay, so. We've got 4 here. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, so basically till there. It looks like we've got edge, 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 and then just a repeating middle portion. So I think that's the way I should think about it, is having edges and then repeating centers. The roofs seem to be made more to tile, like, infinitely almost, just looking at them. Like, they are not built with having, like, an edge piece necessarily in mind. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay. So, if I were to kind of pull the idea of, the gridded, grass from over here. Light, dark, light, dark. Should be able to do something with that. Okay. Let's just experiment a little. If I copy that, and then I come on here and I paste it in and drag it down, it does fit right there. So in theory, I can go ahead and paste again. I can go ahead and kind of use that as a basis and maybe start the wall a little bit lower. That being said, I've got the feeling that basically anything above this line is probably going to be treated as a bottom portion of, like, the height. I am not entirely certain. It might go up to here. It might go up to here. So if I want to do anything that has, like half the wall is stone and then half of it is wood, it's probably going to be better to actually just do 2 different tile sets, like here's stone and then you put the wood on top of it or something. I'm not certain. I'm not certain. I might mess myself up by insisting on some of them having grass underneath. I think that what I could do is I could do a grass version and a non-grass version at the base. And just kind of see if that, if they can be mixed. God, I'm probably overcomplicating things so much. Let's go with it. Okay. Okay. So, I think that what I want to do is I want to have 1 wall texture and 1 roof texture. just to kind of experiment with. And I like the idea of the wooden wall. So I'm going to go ahead and get a block here. Okay. Okay. It's a little desaturated and a little red, but it's okay. We'll work with it. So. Oh boy. Alright, I think that I want for there to be... Come on. Yeah, no. It's... The grid is being annoying. I also got my aliasing, anti-aliasing on that I do not need right now. It is always wanting to go to the right-hand side of the grid. However, those are at least guidelines, so I'm going to turn the grid off. Honestly, there's probably a way to snap to grid. It's off. Okay, okay. Okay. Let's try that again. Oh my god, the clown music is out. What the hell is this? Wagon wheel electronic, apparently. Thank you. That is just what we need. Absolutely wild. Oh my god. Alright. Okay. We're just gonna carry on while that continues in the background as if it doesn't exist. Thank you. Whoops. Undo that. Now, that being said, that slightly lighter red next to it might work. Color variation. Okay. So another thing that I need is definitely a darker shade here in order to create shadows. And I think that I want to grab a rectangle for that because I'd like to do... The smarter way would have been to do that before those lines. Alright, okay, we are going straight across with this. Go back to the straight lines. Shove that up there. Do I know what I'm doing? No! I've got the slightest clue. If I do, it's only moderately. Okay. Alright, so the easiest way is going to be either to make the rows or make the columns. I'm not quite sure what style of wood I actually want to use. Maybe I should just go, like, vertical with it, but have a strip down below or something at the base, like baseboard sort of thing. Heck it. Let's go about halfway. Just on there, so we have a little bit of a post sort of thing. What if I... What's gonna make it stand out a little bit more? Probably that one should be in front, so it's fine. It's fine. What if I double up this on those, and I'm not worried about overrunning on the grass? I'll fix that later. Whatever. There, fixed. Okay. Heck if I even know what I'm doing at this point. Okay. Lighten that up a little. This is some absolutely wild music to have for this. This is not quite what I was going for. But we endure. I'm probably gonna have to find a different mix pretty soon. When I checked the title of this one, I noticed it was getting pretty far along. I think that it's close to being done on that, that front of things. Just gonna scoot a little dark shadow stuff up. Oh, I've been saying all sorts of things earlier. Don't even worry about it. I am fully happy to talk to myself. The happy bloops are a wonderful contrast to very methodical arting. I am sitting here precision placing pixels. I probably shouldn't be, but I am. And instead, and the background music is just wild electronic nonsense. Okay. So I think I've got a little something here. Alright, so weathering stuff. Oh, this is gonna get messy quick. I'm going to lighten the very edges just a teeny bit, just so we have something that implies like boards. I am going to use something as subtle as I can. Just kind of along there. Kind of along there. I'll find their own, I'll find some different stuff for, each side. Okay. There we go. Okay. So basically it's... I want a slightly stronger, I think, highlight on these side posts just so that they stand out a little bit more, but for right now I'm just gonna put that on both sides. There we go. Methodically placing the walls of your sim house. Is it? This feels very fast for something methodical, to be quite honest. Alright, and now I'm gonna just a little bit more in the other direction. Let's see if I can get something... Ooh, yeah, that is very subtle. I barely see that. But maybe it'll work. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't even know at this point. I am doing stuff that I am unaccustomed to in a great many ways. Sims build music's just kind of like that. Huh. I'm just gonna start dashing in colors with the line tool, and I will worry about variegating them and making them look more complex later. Honestly, I don't really need anything that complex. I'm doing a lot of flat colors. Honestly, I should probably just stick with the flat colors and dithers that I've already been working on, honestly. Yeah, let's get some cohesion back in here. Okay. It's all well and good. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna very slightly lighten the shadow area. Just enough to further define these. Okay. Now, I think the other thing that I should do is I should, hold on. This goes to this in a, scooting more vibrant and more upwards kind of way. So I'm just gonna do something very similar here. And try and get that, like, orange sidebar to go up a little, but still be shadowed. Alright. So in order to push the feeling of some of these being a little more recessed, I think that I want this particular line of shadow to actually go a little lower, or I want it to go higher here. I think that's the way to go. Because that is far fewer blocks to kind of redo in color versus every single one otherwise. Work smarter, not harder. Work much smarter, not harder. Work as smart as you possibly can. Unfortunately, I am so clueless that it is inevitably going to be working harder anyway. Even if I think I'm being smart, I could be making things worse. Okay. I mean, I don't mind it. It's fine. Okay. So, what I need to do now, I think, is start messing with this whole thing. It is time to start bringing the shadows downwards in certain ways. Boop. 3, 4, 5. 1. God damn. Okay. It's fine, it's fine. Got a little portcullis teeth of shadow on here. Alright. And we'll start worrying about adding more weird color nonsense after I have added the basics. Techno choir? Is that what we're doing here? Okay. I'll go a little darker on that and just kind of pop in a little something. Oh right, I've got this. I could just use that, I don't need to make a new color. Work like a silly goose! Oh, come on. There we go. Okay. Alright, I've got a little bit of a zigzag. It's something. It is definitely something. Alright, I think what I want to do is kind of take some of this and just do something with it, maybe only on one side. It is going to, if anything, imply that light is stronger on one side than the other, which means that if I continue to do this, I will have to be very aware of, like, lighting direction for the length and strength of my little dithers of light and shadow. Which might be a foolish attempt. Because that is something that I will very easily forget. Okay, this feels like precision music. We are being very low-key. We are being very exact. There's a very steady, even beat to it. Okay. Okay, here's a thought. What if I save these particular dithers just for the side beams? Just for, like, the implication of main support? God damn. I'm being filled with the desire to place my pixels in time with the music, and that is probably not a good idea because sometimes I need a little more time than the beat gives me to line things up because I am doubling things up all over the place. Oh god, come on. Right, okay. Time to fix things. I think it's because my my mouse sometimes slides a little when I click. Not my mouse, my, I am using a pen and tablet, to be honest. A mouse might be better control, I don't know. But my pen does slide sometimes. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna maybe do one more row of that. Just to push it a little bit further. Alright, I'm scrolling in. Just a little. Because I am, unfortunately, just flicking the pen enough that at the further out, it read as a little bit more of a stroke. And so I keep getting double ups on the points that I'm trying to put down. Like, even there, it just did it again, but then I am kind of up a bit. There we go. Okay. Okay. So that's something. I feel like that is something. Now I'm gonna do something where I am going to kind of merge it into the grass just a little. I want to see if this works. It might not. It might be a little bit too, you know, why is the house fading into the grass? But if I keep it short enough, in theory, it might work. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Because, you know, why not? Do 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 do. What I really want is for this to give the effect of grass against a building. Okay. Go ahead and make that there, there. That one there, and there. Fine otherwise. I'm okay with it kind of being a little off. Just enough. And I might go back and make this row a slightly darker color. It's entirely possible that I might want to do that. Or I'll do one more row at a darker color just so that it looks a little more shadowed, a little more recessed. And then kind of randomize some of the dots in this middle row in order to blend them together. Okay, one more row, I think, slightly darker. Or we could go much darker and kind of go with this. That could work. Whoops, Control Z. This is why I draw with one hand almost permanently on Control Z. To be fair, when I'm actually drawing, it's more often on like B and E for brush and eraser, so I can swap between them very quickly. But Control Z is a close second. Like there. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's sort of bring some of those up a bit. Not like that. Not like that. Okay. Now the other thing that I want to do is actually make like flyaway strands of grass. Where in theory, it maybe looks a bit like, not there. Looks a bit like there's grass going up the sides. If I can actually keep track of where I am putting that pixel, it would be good. Okay. Oh, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Before I can zoom out and check my work. Okay. 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 It does kind of look like the grass is there. It does kind of look like the building is growing, is over the grass a bit. I think that I might take some of this pixeling and I might shadow the grass just a little bit. Just enough to be like, okay, it's not so much the building is there anymore, but the building is kind of creating a shadowed effect. See, if all this pays off somehow in the end, at the very least, I'm gonna have something that is very unique. It's not coming from a pack, it's not the default stuff. If it ever goes anywhere, it's gonna look, you know, not like the other stuff that's out there. Assuming it ever goes anywhere. Because yeah, I've been kicking this whole thing around for actual years at this point. You can see how much progress has been made. Very little. I've got concept art. That's all I can say. I've got some concept art that I've made. It's about it. It's about all I got. And the thing is, the concept art is mostly, like... It's not a lot in the way of, let's say, architecture. Or, like, heavy into environments. Whoop. And so I am still kind of blind in those areas just a little bit. Vague and general ideas, not so much the specifics, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, nope. It's surprising to me how much of the popular music for Kevin MacLeod at this time period it's being pulled from really just is electronic clown. Like, if you listen to this, am I wrong? Is this not electronic clown? So weird. Well, I think we might have hit the end of that playlist. Or rather, single video that was compiled. Yeah, that seems to be the end of that. So, if we want to have more background music, I'm going to need to find another continuous probable Kevin MacLeod compilation. Or I start over that one. I don't know what's going to be less troublesome. Starting over that one is easiest, to be clear. But do we really want more electronic clown music? We might get it anyway. Oh, that needs to not be there. Thank you. There we go. 10 hours Skyrim music. Genuinely, that's not necessarily a bad suggestion. That could actually, like, be a thing. Okay. Okay, one thing that might have done better is if I had grabbed the grass dither thing from, like, the... Because this is a bottom bit. This isn't a top bit. So I should have grabbed it from this bottom section of, like, the entire tile. Ooh, I think I might have messed up. No, you know what? I could just leave it. I could just leave it and see how it goes. The one with the ambient forest sounds. Okay, let's see if I can find that real quick. I'm just going to assume that that is The Elder Scrolls, Peaceful Forest, Music and Ambience, Skyrim Forests of Autumn. Let's see. Skyrim Forests, Relaxing Music and Ambience. They've got quite a few. They've got their relaxing music all lined up. Alright. I will go ahead and pick one of the shorter ones, Skyrim Forest, Relaxing Music and Ambience. I'm gonna hope that that is good. It's like, we're not gonna listen to the whole thing, but there we go. See how that goes. Alright. No more clown music. Only Skyrim. Okay. Okay. In a very simplistic, almost minimalistic way, I think this is kind of working. I am going to do a bit more dot dithering, specifically with these orange tones, just because I want to expand just a little bit more color into some of this. So I am going to just dot my way up. Dot my way up the sides here. Control-Z. Skyrim does have some very nice ambient music. It is very easy to just have this into, in the background of something. Yeah, this was a good suggestion. It does fit much better than Secret Clown theme level. I just kind of went, yeah, Kevin MacLeod, royalty free. Here's like a long mix of like most popular ones. I know it's going to be a bunch of stuff from YouTube videos, and the first ones were. And it started getting weird. Drowsy? Drowsy? Okay. Throw a little bit more into here. Do. That's covered, okay. It's just one more. Scroll way in so that I can actually keep track of where I am. So something that I have realized as I am continuing to do this is because I am not entirely sure how the repeat works on these particular tiles, there is a good chance that there is going to be random strips of orange like every so many tiles, one way or another, as opposed to it just being like, here's a post, and then every block of this there's going to be a zoop, zoop, which could look really dumb, I don't know. I could be in for it. I could be making all sorts of mistake. Oh, well. It kind of needs the warmth, to be honest. It kind of needs something. I could scale back a little bit by, yeah, filling in some of these, but... So, honestly, this might tile badly. There is every chance of it. But, whatever, I am here to make silly mistakes, aren't I? Okay. What's the point in being an amateur in something if you are not occasionally making a professional cry? Well, speaking of amateurs, okay, so I am not to segue into this like, I am a professional, therefore here is an example. No. But I do know some basics on crochet. I can crochet. I can make the loopy loops and the yarn knots together and becomes something else. However, so my sister, she is with a friend group kind of doing these monthly challenges things, and I've been doing monthly challenges with my friends as well, and it's just taking different forms, because in her group, it's a larger group. There isn't really as much room for everybody gives each other an individual tailored challenge, and then you have one challenge from each member of the group. It's just too much, it's overwhelming. So they are giving general, like, category challenges, a choose-your-own-adventure sort of challenge, a fill the theme, fill the prompt within your own way sort of challenge. Here's the rubric, you make the essay. You can pick the topic. And their challenge this month is to basically learn something new. Like, learn a new skill sort of thing. And what she has chosen is basically, because I know some crochet, she's like, hey, teach me how. Because she benefits then from having somebody, like, in-house who can teach her and help her fix things and stuff like that. And so it's like, yeah, makes sense. I wish I could do that for some things I try to learn and do, to be honest. Like this. This would definitely benefit from somebody, like, occasionally coming over if I could, like, wave my hand in the air, go, help, 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 and they walk over and go, yes, this is the mechanics of how this works, here's how to fix it. And I go, yeah, thank you. Anyway, so she's trying to learn how to crochet. And so last week, I sat her down and I gave her one of my most basic, like, mid-size hooks and mid-size yarn, and took my own and, like, showed her chains and single crochet stitches, like the most basic foundations. And then, you know, after going through it a little couple times, was just like, okay, now practice for a while. And she kept having this problem, this recurring, repeated problem, where she would come back from, like, the practice stuff, and she'd be like, hey, I keep getting this happening. What is going on? And I'm like, I don't know how you're doing this, because what she got is, instead of getting, like, and it was specifically whenever she started accumulating rows, she would end up in a place where instead of having, like, a clear little, like V-shaped chain on the top that she could chain or crochet into in order to build up, she would have, like, a V-shape on the top and a V-shape on the side and a V-shape on the other side, and she would have this incredibly dense, thick, like, fabric, as it were, at the end, and it was very difficult to force the hook through, and at first I'm just like, loosen your tension? Is that what's going on? Go loose! And it kind of made it easier to work in, but she's still ending up with this really dense, thick stuff. And so after I just did a row on her practice piece so that she could feel the difference, and oh boy, was it a difference. Like, dense, heavy, to much lighter. She sat and did a crochet for me, and I immediately was like, oh, you're slip stitching row after row. She was just like, in a single crochet, you have a loopy on your hook. You put the hook through the loopies on the fabric that's there, so it anchors it down. You draw some yarn through that, so you have 2 loops on your hook then, and then you grab more yarn and draw it through those, and that is your single crochet. She was putting it through the loopies on the foundation, grabbing the yarn and pulling it through everything, and that makes a slip stitch. And a slip stitch is extremely low and extremely dense, and you really just use it to get places you need to, or when you need something even shorter than a single crochet. And so no wonder it was so dense. So we fixed that. She's now practicing the actual single crochet stitch, I hope. So yeah, I need somebody who can look at my things, the things I do, like that, and go, yeah, you're having trouble right here because you are mechanically doing this thing wrong. This isn't working because mechanically it just doesn't like that. Here, do it this way and you'll have a better time. And then I'll sit there and be like, yay, it's working so much better now. Instead of me, just sort of fumbling along on my own. But yeah, hence why next week I am buggering off and not streaming and going to a convention that's all about tabletop games so that I can bring them ideas that I have. And I don't know, maybe come back with something valuable? Maybe? Maybe? Because yeah, right now, to be quite honest, what I have to bring is more a pile of concepts than anything else. So I'm probably not gonna get much that's actually of any use, to be very fair. I'm just gonna mess with this. It's not like I have anything with hard firm mechanics. I'll see what I can come up with in the week in between, to be honest. Just in case it's, like, worth it to have something to bring in, but as of right now, yeah, because I haven't even really settled on, like, a dice system for it yet. I've kicked around a lot of ideas. I don't think I necessarily want to go the route of, like, just basic D20 plus stats like D&D has. It's simple, but I'm not sure it's what I'm after. I'm not sure what I am after is the thing. Maybe. So that could be part of it. Because, like, there's so many ways to go about building mechanically a tabletop dice and paper sort of game. The basic D20 thing is reliant upon you having numerical stats that make up the difference. It is a very, it's a bounded accuracy system, where you are rolling your die, and that is the element of chaos. So in this case, like a D20, you are basically getting the base number of 1 through 20, and any one of those numbers in equal odds, equal proportions. You're as likely to get a 1 as a 20 if you have no ways of, like, manipulating the dice, advantage, disadvantage, anything like that. And then after that, you are adding your flat numbers. And so you create then a system where it's like, okay, your odds of succeeding on this goal depend a great deal upon those base numbers, but they are always going to be, like, between, if you have, like, no negative numbers, for example, and maybe your highest plus is a 5 or something, that, like, that is the maximum you can ever achieve, or something like that, then you're basically creating a system where you have a run of numbers from 1 through 25. And so you can build things kind of around those numbers and those assumptions, in basic terms. And then there are things like dice pools. And you usually see that more with, like, D6s, where you go, okay, you have, you know, your stats are not maybe numbers, maybe it's the number of dice that you can roll in the pool, or something like that. And so you are, your better stuff is just better odds of getting a good outcome. Where you aren't adding dice together, you are selecting the best one that you roll. And so your accuracy, your range is always 1 through 6, and you build your successes and failures according to that. And then after that, it's really just people, like, playing odds, you know? What are my chances of getting the target number of, like, 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever, plus. If I am rolling 5d6, I have pretty good odds of getting maybe a 6, say. Not guaranteed, but better than rolling just 1 and hoping. And then there's games that do things like... There's one called Fabula Ultima, and also its somewhat spiritual predecessor, Ryutama, where you actually are, like, rolling 2 stats at once. But the stats, the level of your ability in that skill or that stat, is the size of the die you use. So, like, you could have, like, a d6 in one... Whoops. There we go. Just drop something off my desk. You could have a d6 in one and a d8 or something in the other. And, then you kind of roll them and add those together, and you end up with these really wild, I think, probability curves, because anytime you roll 2 dice and you add them together, it is very different probability-wise than rolling 1 die across it all. Like, I mentioned a d20 earlier, single d20. You roll a d20, you're getting 1 through 20 as a result on that die, and you have a perfectly even chance of getting each one. But if you roll 2d6 and your goal is not pick the highest one, it is add them together, then suddenly you've got a low probability of a 2 and a low probability of a 12, equal in their scores, and then it peaks with like 6, 7, 8, because there are more additions, more possibilities that add together to those numbers on those 2 dice than any other number. And then when you start staggering the size of the dice, I don't even know how to do it. I bet there are people out there who have done probability graphs that show it, or you can input it and it'll be like, okay, here's your probabilities of these outcomes. And then you'll see the curve. It gets weird. It gets real weird. Anyhow, that's another way of going about it, and honestly, I kind of like it in respects to this specifically. You are not sitting here trying to figure out if the thing your player wants to do is a little bit more wisdom, or a little bit more intelligence, or a little more dexterity, or a little more athletics, you know, dex strength, whatever. You can just say, hey, if you want to parkour up the side of this building, that is dex and strength. It takes dexterity to, like, land and do precision jumps. It takes strength to muscle yourself up at the top and to push off with enough force to propel yourself upwards. And so you can combine the stats much more easily in that kind of system, and it's something that I think that, like, D&D in particular kind of struggles with, in some regards, or at the very least, I feel like as a DM I've struggled with it playing and running D&D. Where a player really wants to do a particular thing, and I am left sitting here kind of going, okay, yes, I see your vision. I genuinely cannot decide if this thing is relying more on your character's, like, intellect or instincts. I think one of the worst examples really is, like, searching for hidden things, searching for a hidden door or a booby trap or something like that. Because outright, the handbook and everything gives examples for that, where it basically is like, yes, you roll, like, the intelligence investigation, and you might, like, or no, it was something like, you can roll the wisdom perception, and you might notice that there is, like, a line of dust on this bookcase, as if things have moved, or something like that. But you gotta roll the intelligence investigation in order to surmise that there is a hidden catch and this is a door, or something like that. And it's just like, okay, so in a way they are almost interchangeable. They just get at the information from different directions, and which is, to be fair, kind of how I sometimes try to run certain things, where I sit here and I go, okay, yeah, you can roll, like, your, to see if you know a thing, you can roll, like, a intelligence, knowledge-based skill check of some kind. but there are enough overlaps that if you choose to roll history, you're going to get information flavored on any sort of historical sources that might be on this. If you roll, if you want to roll, like, your Arcana, maybe there's some magical sources on it. If you want to, like, roll some other thing, maybe you've heard things, I don't know. I try to, like, vary up the ways that players can get at information, or at the very least, the flavor of information they get out of something. But God, it's not necessarily well built for things being intersections of different base skills. You, at best, can sit there and be like, alright, roll investigation, but use your wisdom instead of your intelligence. At that point, it's like, I don't know, it also kind of cheapens, in a way, sometimes, the builds that some people do, where if you're like, I'm gonna create a detective character who is very intellectual and has investigation and susses things out and stuff like that. Okay, great, cool, alright, awesome. Yeah, the wizard also took, like, an investigation, not the wizard, like, the druid or the cleric also took an investigation, like, specialty, but has lower intellect, and keeps begging me to let them use their wisdom because they're really good at, like, spotting subtle things and then investigate from there. And it's like, that makes sense! That makes sense! But I'm looking at this poor, like, I don't know, artificer over here, or a rogue investigator that actually, like, spread their attributes out and put so much in intelligence, and would like to do intelligence investigations, and they're sitting there going, wait, I could have just picked wisdom? I could have dumped intelligence and just done it like that, and I'm just like, in theory, it's a feeling, you know? It is a heckin' feeling. Oh, all that to say, games are complicated and weird and, interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, that's the long and short of that whole thing. So I have not, again, figured out any kind of dice system that I would want to do for a theoretical game that I make. There's too many options, and I don't know which one best serves the feel of it. And, like, at best I can hope, the best I can feel I can hope is, maybe going to this panel about it might give me some insights. I'm not entirely certain. Alright, where are you? There you are. Okay. Anyhow. Because the feel of the thing that I want to make is stories in a mystical library that is half destroyed by something. Something that's got a fair amount of mystery, something that can let people, like, almost pick and choose or blend genres very easily by kind of sitting there and going, okay, here are archetypes that you're playing as your characters are basically released echoes from old tales that have kind of taken on a life of their own, and they're trying to eke out a living, a survival in this, like, vast, infinite, borderline breaking down world. Some of it's base building, some of it is, there's room for, like, diplomacy, there's, like, could be other echoes, maybe you're part of a larger conglomerate, maybe you're just a tiny little tribe or a band trying to, like, keep it together, maybe you're trying to investigate the mystery of your home and figure out what on earth built it, what happened to it, anything like that. There's, I think, a lot of stuff that can be done with the concept. And I've got ideas for simplifying the base building aspect of it from a different, like, little indie game called Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which does something really interesting, where all of the characters are pre-made. You don't make your own character, and so they all have their own stories. Not necessarily something I want to emulate in this. I want people to make their own, like, characters and stuff. But the interesting thing is, when you roleplay through scenarios with characters, once you reach the end of it, your reward is essentially a sticker. And it could stand in for, like, any sort of odd little object. And part of the book is a series of locations, let's say, around the bed and breakfast. They could be some characters like nightstand, another's desk, another one's like bookshelf, things like that. And there are like two kinds of stickers, like one square, one round. The round ones are, I think, rarer, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be reversing them. And so the one you get depends on the complexity of the scenario you just played through. And as you are playing and doing this and collecting stickers, you decide where to put the stickers, because each area has a certain number that it can support. You know, it can have, like, I don't know, say it takes 5 square stickers and 2 round ones to complete an area. But once you complete an area with the little stickers, you unlock things, new characters, new scenarios, you level up the game overall. And I think that is a potentially very simple and elegant way to go about something that is base building. Instead of sitting here and trying to, like, spreadsheet out something like, oh, okay, you know, you want to build a fortified wall for your base. You need this many tons of cut stone, and this many skilled workers paid this much per day over this many days in order to complete it. Instead, you're just like, hey, you want to build fortifications? That's going to be 3 basic rewards plus an exceptional reward or something like that. Here are the sorts of jobs, missions, quests, things that you can go on, and, you know, maybe a few things you can stumble across incidentally, and certain of these will give certain material rewards. Don't worry too much about the exact shape of those rewards. Don't worry too much about, oh yes, we somehow have come into possession of a huge lot of stone from this quest. No, don't worry about it. What you got is not a huge lot of stone. You got a basic building material. And you can use it in those slots. Isekai stories. I haven't really, like, seen a lot of them, to be quite honest. I mostly know the memes and the jokes and stuff about them. I do feel like, how do I put this? I feel like I can see very much the appeal of certain kinds, because it's very easy to insert yourself into the protagonist's shoes and to, like, feel a kinship with them, like, oh yeah, this guy, he had a smartphone, he's just like me in a way, you know? But he gets to go on these cool adventures and be so awesome, and I think that's unfortunately also a weakness that it has. How do I put this? It's got, in theory, the strength of the everyman protagonist who you want to root for. It's got the strength, in a way of, here is a character, a protagonist, who you can kind of walk in the shoes of a little bit in order to learn about the world, because they don't already know everything about the world, right? And that can be all well and good. However, there is a point at which you can kind of lose a certain amount of, I don't know, magic in a way of the story, of having a character who belongs in the place where they're planted. You know what I mean? Like, isekai structure has some stuff going for it. It has some stuff that is definitely drawback and detrimental. Like, if you ever have a story where it's like... How do I put this? There is something almost fundamentally sad about the way you almost have to structure an isekai protagonist's life in reality, such that you can very easily hand-wave away them not wanting to go back. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it is a thing where the character ends up in a new world, why do they not want to make the entire focus of their story going home? Do they miss anybody? Do they have friends, family, loved ones, anything like that they want to get back to? Like, if there's one where that is the focus of the story, great, more power to them. If there are ones that are not, then, yeah, it gives the character OP powers, but at a point, it's like, okay, cool, you get to have magic and wield the chosen sword and defeat the great darkness and be lauded as a hero, and what about home? Is there nothing you miss? Did your life suck so much that you are completely unbothered by never seeing, like, a family member again? Never hearing a favorite song, never seeing how that one, like, story or show ends. Even little things like that. I think there's a reason maybe why so many of those stories, like the meme is very much this character gets hit by a truck. It creates a there's no going back. It's, in a way, I'm not saying this is necessarily true about all of them, because I haven't seen a lot of it or anything. There might be ones that defy these stereotypes. There might be ones that actually pay attention to those questions. But once you get down to the most generic, stereotyped basics, it really is a story where the main focus for the main character is not some great and wonderful thing. It's all your problems, all your sense of worthlessness or sense of worth in general, everything that you wish made you special, more, better, all of that can be solved by just dying, not being part of this world anymore, because this world is clearly the problem. Not you, not your circumstances or anything else, just you're in the wrong place. And so the fix is just death and hoping that there's something else out there that clearly you slot into and you are the biggest and the bestest and the bravest and the most powerful. There's something, I don't know, if you think too much about it and you go past the, oh cool OP protagonist sword, I want to be them, there is something kind of sad about it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it's not completely accurate or fair or something like that. I don't know. I could be quite wrong. But yeah, that's kind of where my head sits on that, if I think too much, again, about it. I will admit that I could see myself getting into one and enjoying one or something like that without even thinking that much about it. I don't know. Just because I gotta admit, I do like the cool magic and the sword and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I think that even if I did enjoy it or watch it or anything like that at the time, there's that little fanfic part of my brain that goes, hey, there's this aspect. Let's dig a little deeper. It's kind of messed up. And I go, oh, that kind of is messed up. Yeah, why doesn't the protagonist ever mention or think of his mom again? Who, you know, we only heard off screen telling him dinner would be ready at 6, be home by then or something. like, is, are we never going to address the fact that she probably was heartbroken when her baby either never came home or his body was found hit by a truck? Are we never going to consider that? The protagonist certainly didn't. The protagonist was too caught up in Pretty Elf Girls and Flaming Sword. Like, I don't know. I think there's ways to kind of get the benefits of it that are going... Oh yeah, I don't doubt there are good ones. I've heard a lot more bad ones that put the isekai in a bad and funny light, absolutely. And those are probably the ones that I have heard so much more about, because those are the ones that get the jokes and the memes and the stereotypes and the analyses and things like that. Which, you know, makes sense. But yeah, that is roughly where my brain sits on it. Maybe is unfair. Maybe is inaccurate. I do not know. I cannot speak enough to it, even though I have spoken quite a lot. I've got vagueness. The best I can do is joke about things that are technically not isekai, but could be called isekai, and just, annoy somebody with some of those. Ah, Devil's Advocate. Yes, you don't want to go too hard in opposite direction. In Narnia, so you lived a whole fantasy life and went home like nothing happened. Yeah. God, love the whole, like, Narnia thing to some extent, but, oh my god, you need fanfic to explore some of that, because it is, like, so weird that then you have these little, like, I don't know, how old was Lucy? 9, 10 at best? Probably 8? And it's like, she comes back, and she is a child again, and treated like a child again, and, is being given, like, schoolwork suited to a child, and she's just looking at this like, I was drafting a treaty last week. Hecking, Edmund is sitting there being like, yep, all that diplomacy wasted? So yeah, Narnia is an interesting example, because in a weird way, it is, in its own sense, almost a kind of isekai sort of thing, but, like, very British. Very British, very old. But you do have that core thing of, here are some ordinary people, ordinary kids, who go through, they have the great destinies, they have, like, the crowns of royalty waiting for them in that world. But the difference there is, in a way, because they're not dead, they end up having to go back, and they stumble back into their own world, and then they basically almost never get to return. Technically they do eventually, but they almost never get to return. And so there's this weird hanging sense of which one was their real life. Which one counts the most? Do they both? See, the problem with writing stories sometimes, at least for me, is I think too deeply about certain things, and then it's not fun anymore, because I go, hang on, We got a problem here. Why is it like this? And sometimes the answer is it's like this because there's no other way for there to be this story. And so if you want this story to exist, you have to accept that it's like this. And I'm bad at that. Very bad at that. Okay, here we go. We are getting into some fine details with very subtle colors here, and so I'm scrolled way in so that I can actually physically see them. Alright, there we go, there we go. Alright, there's that. So I was kind of treating this almost like it might be a thatched roof. However, I'm seeing their actual thatched roof, and that looks pretty cool with, like, the ripples and stuff. That's very necessary. Do I want to do that? What the heck kind of roof is this? It definitely needs, like, crown detailing of some kind. Like, to be fair, you do need something there. The other thing that I don't necessarily like about these tile sets sometimes is they tend to make houses, buildings, things like that look extremely flat and one-dimensional. You don't have any forward-facing roofs, and I don't think there's an easy way to go about them. You probably could come up with something, but eh. Well, that's a problem for another time, I think. Right now, I just want to get a roof, like, top detail on there. So these have rooftops that they vary a lot in size. Some of them fill the top blocks, some of them kind of go over them. That one fills, that one less than fills. Okay, so there doesn't seem to be, like, a set rule for that. As such, I'm going to actually borrow a color from down here, and I'm going to make a wooden top. And I'm just going to fill it for simplicity's sake. So, let's go with that. Good enough. My pixels back on. Yeah. Alright. Okay, so, first of all, I want my basic shadow. And I want to go back to my lines, and I want to pull... There we go, pull some shadows across. I'll do a couple of rows just for simplicity's sake. Okay. Time to get dotting. Whoops. Do you want to know something that I've always kind of wanted to run as a game scenario? And I just haven't figured out, like, what to do it in with people? I want to run a time loop thing set in a single city where I can have a whole bunch of kind of stuff going on throughout the city, more than you can possibly find in a single adventuring day. But it's always going over and over, and so it's like the characters, the player party, happen to stumble across something that breaks them out of the loop. They're aware of the loop, but they are still caught in it. And so they can use accumulated knowledge in order to try and find the base cause and break the whole thing. And so there can be a whole bunch of, like, mysteries and things going on simultaneously, and they can eventually find their way through them. I've thought about doing it via D&D. I've thought about doing one in a system called Perils and Princesses. I could probably make it work in any number of other ones. I just haven't settled on, like, the full build of it as of yet. To be fair, I'm kind of busy running my current campaign, and I'm doing another one out of, like, a book, like a scenario that is pre-written. And I'm very excited about a new pre-written scenario for the Perils and Princesses system that just got announced. Because it's got dragons, and I love dragons. And very easy to please in that way. But yeah, the long and short of it is, I am trying to figure out the placing for certain things. I am full of ideas. I am so full of ideas and so little time for them. And the extra problem about something like a tabletop RPG is not only do I need to have time, I need to have players with time. And that's been increasingly difficult. 'Cause, like, we all got our own heckin' jobs. We're all doing our own things. We all got our own schedules, stuff going on, things like that. And so, you know, if somebody is only available certain days of the week, and maybe not even guaranteed then schedules get tight and difficult to work around. Which honestly I think is part of the reason why I want so much to get into, like, game dev stuff. Because, like, I've gotta put all of the stuff I want to make somewhere, you know? And if I can't put it into, like, stuff made for my friends, for people I know to play, then at the very least, I'd like to be able to, like, release it into the wild and know that people are having fun. It's a tall order, and an unlikely one, but it is, it's what's in my brain nonetheless. Time to do some hecking very subtle dots. Oh boy, those were too subtle. I didn't even see that I'd messed up there. Whoop. I definitely know I messed up on that one. But yeah, coming up with ideas is easy. Actually formulating them in a way that makes sense to others is definitely hard. It makes sense in my own head. Why must I make it make sense for others? 'Cause I choose to is why. My other problem is I tend to bite off more than I can chew initially. Oh. What the heck? Did my stream drop or what? No, it's still going. Oh, that's weird. Alright. Okay. I just gotta get this done. Just gotta get this done. Let's see if I can actually make this finish something nice. Let's see, stream is skipping a bit, yeah. Yeah, I saw it basically almost close. It went to the YouTube thing of connect your encoder in order to stream, and I'm like, what do you mean? OBS is still running, right? So there seems to have been a connection hiccup. I don't know what caused it. I don't know what fixed it. Hopefully that's all it's gonna do. Yeah, let's see. We've been going at this for a couple of hours, to be fair. And I'm not planning on going for too very much longer. Just because I have a lasagna dinner to make sooner than later. And that takes time because it takes layering. But yeah, I promised I'd do it. So I'm gonna get it done. Okay. Do I want to dither that up? I think I don't. Alright. I think that I want to get just this top bit with the highlight and do a very simple downwards dots. Whoop. Do. So yeah, gotta make some pasta. Might be running a very short test of a game I mentioned earlier, Ryutama, because we have characters have been made as of like Friday as a short notice thing. Weren't able to run anything on Friday because it was a short notice thing and someone had to go for work, night shift and all that. But hopefully we'll be able to play some of it today. Hopefully. And see how it goes. Because, yeah, the recent, like, game dev, interests on my part have pretty much manifested in terms of, like, just interest in general in games. I want to try different things, you know? I'm just gonna dot some things in here just to give it a little bit more variation. It's a little bit bland in color. But I shouldn't be, I shouldn't spend too long on it. I really do need to do a little test build of it and then carry on from there because I've got so much to do. So heckin' much. Whoops, wrong side. There we go. Side, there we go. I feel like these might be too dark dots. I probably need to find some middling tone ones just to even them out a little. But frankly, it needed something because right now those are very evenly toned and I feel like it's a little too harsh. That being said, I don't know. I'm doing very harsh lines. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's okay that I'm not, like, varying it up too gosh dang much. Maybe it's just fine. I don't know. Not a professional pixel artist. It's gonna be interesting once I have to make actual characters. Like, actual character sprites for this. Because, yeah, that's gonna be a whole other kettle of fish. It's gonna be a whole other thing that I'm gonna have to figure out. Okay. Well, it made it look a little more weathered, honestly, in some ways. So, yeah, that's not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. Alright. Okay, it's not ideal, necessarily. There's probably some things wrong with it that I'll have to go fix later. But for right now, I think that's not too bad. Okay. So this is potentially the interesting part. Is I have to save these as the PNGs that they are. There we go. Alright. And then I have to go through a little bit of a rigmarole of getting, there we go, RPG Maker open. And seeing how they lay down in a very simple mapping sort of way. Alright, so I'd previously made something real simple. I think that I have to... Do I have to import things is the question. Okay, hold on. No, they are automatically applied. Okay. Interesting. So I'm just going to make a new map. Testing tiles. We're going to make it outside because that's what I've been working on. We're going to just leave the height and width as they were. Let's just see how this looks. So I'm going to turn off the Clip Studio overlay that I have on here. This is RPG Maker MV. And these are the tiles I have made. So I should be able to just drag. Yeah, okay. Okay. Have I made the corner pieces correctly? I mean, it doesn't look like it, actually. It looks like I might have some trouble with the corner pieces. Because I've got to do that same dither. Let me see, can I scroll in? Yes, I can. Not very far. Okay, if you squint real hard at the screen and, like, lean in like I am, you see these inner corner pieces, where the path kind of goes around. They are absolutely missing the same dither. They are very blank and straight, so I do need to actually make that a little more seamless. That being said, it does broadly look like the grass is correct going around it. So I think that's fine. I might have a few little dips and seams and stuff, but yeah, it's the inner corners that I definitely need to fix up. So, there is that. And then I have a building. Okay. Okay. Interesting with the shadows, honestly. I feel like that might be a problem. Okay. Okay. So, the whole thing I was worried about with, like, the inner lines being an issue is not, because it looks like it borrows from the two sides. So we're okay there. The shadow is a little bit strange because of how I did the grass, to be honest, where I didn't make it like a full flush building all the way down. I let there be a grass thing, which does make the automatic shadow placement a little strange on that side. Alright. I think that I did kind of mess up a little bit where I made the one side dark and this side light when it should be the opposite because they're the wrong side. So it is kind of elongating the tile thing into it. So I do need to fix that as well. But it does seem to be tiling down correctly. Okay. Okay. So, interesting. I think that I can potentially fix the shadow problem with placeable objects, just using like a default bush or something, right there. I could essentially, maybe not that one. Is there one that covers two squares between? Not a lot. Most of these are one-to-ones. Yeah, I don't see any that, like, straddle two squares in the exterior stuff, unfortunately. But in theory, I could make something that, like, a bush that straddles two squares like that, in this direction, and just kind of center it there, and then have it, like, if that bush was, between these two squares right here. I could essentially kind of cover it up. There is still some, like, shadow underneath on that one tile that you can notice. But there's potentially ways to cover it if I want to keep the grass element there. So, okay. I think that some amount of progress has been made. I don't mind the checkerboard, like, grass look, honestly. It's fine. It's fine. It can be worked with, and it is a simple repeating pattern that looks like it's meant to repeat, if you know what I mean. And, you know, it can be broken up by, like, little pieces like this. You know, it's all good. It's all good. Okay. I am gonna go ahead and call it done there. We've been at this 2.5 hours. I have made, 2 entire ground tile sets and a wall and a roof. And they're not, like, necessarily all done. There's a lot of, like, stuff that can still be done with them. But they're broken in some ways, workable in others, and I kind of know what to fix on certain ones, so. Alright. I think we're good there. Thanks for hanging out, and have a good one.